Okay. Hi, everyone. So today, me and my colleague Shahad will be talking about Janice Bryant Howroyd, a female entrepreneur from the United States. So in today's presentation, we will be discussing the following agenda. We'll be having a quick introduction. We're going to talk about the entrepreneur herself and her industry, the entrepreneurship traits and theories, and then also we'll be discussing the challenges, mistakes, and strategies that she encountered during her journey, as well as at the end, we'll be talking about the lessons that she learned and acquired from her overall entrepreneurship journey. So, Janice Bryant Howroyd said, "The more clearly and currently you can define your personal brand, the better decisions you will make for yourself." Now, this shows that Janice is a very self-confident and she knows what she wants from herself and from her business. This is one of the reasons why me and my colleague chose Janice. Now, to know more about Janice, so she started her business in 1978, which is Act One Group. Now, Act One Group started from the United States and grew to be a global business across the world. It is currently valued at $950 million. Now, Act One Group mainly provides workforce staffing and human resources solutions. It is also the largest privately owned women and minority-owned business in the United States. So now let's talk a little bit about Act One Group. What is it? So Act One Group, as I mentioned earlier, looks at staffing, workforce, and human resources solutions. So in human resources, which is a department in any company that handles all aspects of employee experience, as well as the employee journey during that time in a company. It takes in considerations the tools and systems that is used within a company to perform these activities. It also looks at the organizational culture, and it also manages the employees in regards of diversity and talent in a company. So for Act One, they offer three main services: staffing, workforce solutions, and business solutions. And it is broken down to three main functions: Apple One, Agile One, and Act One. So for Apple One, it focuses on staffing. So this is looking at providing hiring advisors, personalized talent acquisitions, recruitment consultancy, as well as if a company during a season would like more employment, this is the aspect of the business that would handle this request. As for Agile One, it focuses on workforce solutions. So this is more system-based solutions, like providing payroll systems and solutions, maybe a recruitment process. It also deals with the risk mitigation and cost saving. As for the last function for the business is Act One, which looks at the government solutions. So this provides governments by streamlining processes, providing IT management solutions, also the development of the workforce and employments, as well as the skills and talent readiness and acquisition and the overall procurement management. Now, moving on to the entrepreneurship traits and theories and how Janice falls within these in this context. So Janice dedicated her life to building her company. So she spent 25 years building Act One Group, and it resulted in the company grossing $600 million in revenue per year. Now, the reason that Act One Group became so successful is that Janice, early on from her career, she made a couple of great decisions. So she utilized her reputation, which was a big part of the success of the business. So from early on, she So from early on, she decided that she was going to be a trustworthy person. So this spread the reputation that she's very trustworthy, as well as a very caring person. So that's why in her company, she would dedicate time and effort to collaborate and provide training for South African countries. And this helps with the overall development of the continent. She also utilized the constant changes in the economic environments and looked at it as a positive instead of a negative. So she would take all these changes and see what is the potential opportunities to produce profitability for her business. Now, looking at the specific traits for Janice and the entrepreneurship theory. So using the 5-factor model, we will look at things that Janice did during her career that fits the entrepreneurship model. So Janice falls under female entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship theory. So when it comes to being prone to risk, early on, Janice started her business with almost nothing. She started with $1,500 to buy the essential for her business equipment, like printers, a laptop, to just kick off her HR business. Now, also one of the entrepreneurial traits is self-belief and self-efficacy. So Janice had a lot of belief in her that she would achieve what she set out to achieve, and that she would become very successful with a global business across the world. Another thing is that being achievement oriented, with Janice was aware of her ambition and being experimental with her business. She used that to differentiate herself from her competition and used it as a competitive advantage for herself. Another thing is that Janice, often in her career, would strategize. She would look at the problem and try to dissect it and find the potential in the problem. This is one of the entrepreneurial mindsets, which is having the intention to find profitability within problems. Also, her interest in the society and community, which she would dedicate time and efforts to enhance the systemic financial wealth gap for women. So she would help empower women in the workforce. Now, also entrepreneurship has its dark traits. So looking at some of the dark traits for entrepreneurs, it can be Machiavellianism and narcissism. Now, for obvious reasons, these traits can restrict the entrepreneur when it comes to morality and self-interest. So the entrepreneur would always put their self-interest first above either the good of the business or the good of the community. Now, another trait, it can be social dominance, which is entrepreneurs, they can be very social and very friendly. However, this can lead to unethical choices and discrimination, as they can be very selective in the social group that they hang out with. On the other hand, also, some traits can be seen as a positive, but in the entrepreneurial context, it can be a negative, like being agreeable. This can be tough for entrepreneurs because they need to be strong negotiators. And now that we looked at the overall beginning of Janice and her entrepreneurial traits, my colleague Shahad will discuss the journey that she took on with her career.
Thank you, Sultana. I will cover the last part of the presentation. Now we will cover and move on to the challenges and the barriers Howroyd went through and faced. She started from the scratch on her own from South America. She faced racism, but that did not stop her from becoming the first Black woman to own a $1 billion business. Howroyd struggled to impact the society positively throughout her company, Act One. She needed to create a strategy that will help her to impact the society, but she was new in the market. She was not aware of how can she create a strategy from the scratch that will enable her to create a value in the market. Moving on to another difficulty. One of the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs face is financing and funding for their business. Like any other entrepreneur, Howroyd had a shortage of funding. Moreover, they did not fund women businesses due to the society perspective on how women cannot run a business. But that did not stop her. She started her business with a very small amount of her funds. Her mother gave her a loan of $900, as my colleague Sultana mentioned, and 600 of her savings to start her business. And she grew this amount and maximized it into a growing business. In this chart, it illustrates the development of funding and the support for the small businesses in the 90s. Moving on to the next section, which is about the mistakes Howroyd have made. Howroyd did not accept any business advice or any criticism from any business specialist, and that impacted her company negatively. Because she thought her business is running well, she didn't need to change anything, but the external factors, such as new competitors, impacted her company. 70% of small business use business specialists that guide them and help them to make valuable decisions. Moving on to the next section. In this section, we will cover the strategies Howroyd used to succeed. She believed that staffing fresh graduates who are excited to start their first job will have a great impact on the company because the young staff are more flexible for the business environment and will bring new ideas to the company. Another strategy she used, building a strong bond and a relationship with the staff was essential for Howroyd. Additionally, she used and applied the TECH principle, which stands for the talent of the employee, who will use the available resources to deliver the best results, and the empowerment of the employees by engaging and training them to be capable to run the business effectively and efficiently. Circular communication, which represents the ability to answer the questions and linking them together in order to create a value for the business. And lastly, healthy habits. Howroyd believed that her employees should balance their work and life in order to have a great outcome at work. Lastly, the lessons learned from the entrepreneur. First, awareness. Howroyd mentioned it is important to be where you say you want to be and how you say you will be. Moreover, when you say you will be, which is about how people should be aware and awake of the available opportunities that will enable them to create their career path. Second, being curious and looking to explore another area is important for the entrepreneur to become a better leader with a clearer vision. Third, patience. Every entrepreneur went through many challenges. However, that did not stop them because they are determined and patient just to achieve their dreams. And thank you for listening.